think, allegedly, I should be streaming. And there's some audio for you as well. I need to turn that down a touch. I always forget that I can never hear myself think if I'm streaming. Now, here comes the actual test. Does it show up that I'm streaming on my laptop? Because I want to make sure I am. God, I love Googling myself. No idea what the best way of doing this is, to be honest. Ah! It's up! Fun. Well. So, let's have a bit of volume. Let's start a new game of Forgotten City. This, for the sake of the archives, is going to be a semi-regular, hopefully, stream of some indie games that I just don't normally have the chance to play. So there's little bits and bobs on back burners that I wouldn't mind getting around to finishing up and actually seeing all of, such as The Forgotten City. So I thought, why not stream it? Been something I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I've got this week off, so perfect time to get the setup running and working and give it a test run. So let's start a new game. Yeah, this is quite an interesting game, to be fair. It's a mod, or it started off as a life as a mod for Skyrim, and now has escalated into a full game. And apparently it's very good, and it's a loop game, and I love loop games. I have to take an obligatory swig of water right at the start of this.
Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are?
You can tell it's a Skyrim thing because of the way the game instantly zooms in onto someone's face to be like, hey, look, this is a character you're having a conversation with. Go with the one I always go with.
Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry.
You know, that sort of center camera
idea
shot
why
of
you
a
what's the last thing
someone
you
you're having a
remember?
conversation with is very, very Skyrim. What was I doing here? Oh, so we get to choose a class essentially. I have played like an hour of this game before actually for the channel and then just stopped, so I wanted to get round to it. So as an archaeologist we have years of studying history, and that gives us occasional insights into the ancient world. I was on a covert mission. You have a military issued firearm but only 10 bullets. You'll have to use them judiciously since there's no way to get more. I was on the run from the law. I'm 25% faster when sprinting, the speedrun class, and I'm an amnesiac. Give me a higher pain threshold, which I don't quite get, but there we go. I'm going to go for the archaeologist because any insight into this world, I think that's the other aspect of this game that I find really interesting, is the sort of historical connection to Rome. So any insight into this world would be good.
Oh, you're an archaeologist? Then you'll definitely want to hear this. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some ruins.
Just checking on the quality of the stream.
Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped, or injured, or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him. So I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him?
I have to say the
If you can do
faces are
that,
much better in this
I
game
can
than
get both of
Skyrim.
you back to
But we
civilization
are
in my
like
boat.
12
Please.
years after that point, so it's kind of to be expected. Mind if I ask some questions first?
Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy. What do you want to know?
What's your story?
Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean?
You're not even going to tell me your name?
Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you.
One second. Something odd going on. It says that I'm playing Fallout for some reason. First time I've used YouTube to stream. I have, like, a long time ago streamed a bit on Twitch just to mess around and see what it was doing. But never used YouTube, and the idea was that it was connected to my channel, so I can kind of keep it together. I suppose I should have things happen in the background. I'd really like to know, especially if I'm going to be helping you. Why don't you want to tell me? Never mind, I don't care that much. I think I'm going to go the latter.
Look, if you really want to know all the tragic details, perhaps I can fill you in after you find Al?
Who is Al?
He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did.
There's just
I
a
thought
stream of
maybe
people
you two
washing
knew
up on
each
this
other.
riverbank.
I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is.
Pain in the butt, this is. Where are we?
You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber.
What can you tell me about the ruins?
Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. Al...
You're very desperate about this Al thing. Have you tried calling for help?
What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me.
Well, extremely suspicious lady. That is all the questions I had for now.
Great. So you're ready to go look for Al?
I think if we're an archaeologist, then we can go for the priceless artifacts.
My hero. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Oh, and he left this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
Okay, it's updated now. Flashlight. Oh, I love a close-up view of items and rotate them. Slightly light up her face as well. So we've got that to move. This is what I was noticing when I was doing some audio tests earlier. The game is extremely stuttery for a few seconds, and then when you start, it smooths up very neatly. I'm going to have to turn this video off to the side now. That is distracting me, but we know everything's up and running. So yeah, we'll get to the key concepts of the game as we get into it, but I think from the start, the connection to Roman history, it definitely feels like it's built for fans of the History of Rome podcast, of which I've listened to plenty of. Very good, very interesting podcast. And it's also got that sort of loop-style gameplay a la Outer Wilds, and... not Outer Worlds, that's the other one that came out within like a week of each other. Okay, that's quest stuff. And what was the other one? Oh, Deathloop as well. Don't want these things on. Subtitles, make that large, and background subtitles, please. Al's note.
Reading this, It means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long for...
We got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Oh no, there's the audio.
Lost, except in the Latin inscription here. It reads, "You who wish to enter the city, step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain, for this shall be their final resting place." Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there, against the odds? It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation, or a warning.
I do think getting to this stage of it is very much that instantaneous, like, I want to explore and look at everything. And I don't know if everyone else is the sort of gamer that I am, but I want to spend a lot of time nosying around places like this. A young Roman woman in a pose of lamentation. And like this section here immediately raises so many questions. I think it's most excellent in some ways. Like, why is the gold statues? And like these gold statues, yes, it makes sense. You know, we're just gonna have some statues along the side to sort of show off this, show off our wealth and copious money. This one makes a touch less sense. And then you get to in here. Why would you craft this statue and put it here, running along? Roman gladiator mid-stride. What could have made a gladiator flee? So you immediately get some questions going with it. Especially when you have little bits of audio in the background like that. A whisper. A young Roman woman, it looks like she was begging for her life. I would say, I have played the first hour of this. I remember immediately liking what it was going for, and then just never finding an excuse to play it again since. I do think there's something very visually interesting about this big sort of cave with the Roman ruins in it. A Roman military commander attempting to scramble away from something. So obviously every bit of text is sort of implying that these dudes are running. State of terror. I don't think things were good down here, however this ended. But yeah, the core conceit is let's get to it, let's leave it. From having played an hour. I'm kind of ahead of you guys. A Roman woman who appears to be praying for the help that never came. Yeah. Scribe's stone tablet.
I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, she'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. And here there are only two options: death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
Well, I'm going to the portal. I have to say, the getting here, the build-up that they're having to sort of work with to get you into the actual zone you're meant to be going is they have to give you the option of walking forward, but make it feel like that there's consequences and stakes to doing it. So I can understand it's probably quite hard to write for this section. Especially having the creepy whispery lady saying not much further. Roman man on his knees, as if begging the gods for mercy. I mean, they have their core concept, don't they? Doing the thing where you pan around like you're in a trying to build a trailer.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina?
I'm Maribel, and I've come from the future. Wait, are you speaking English?
What? I'm speaking Latin. You are too, although your accent's a little strange. Oh, I see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who are you, and what were you doing in the shrine?
Shrine of Proserpina?
Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime? You're not from around here, are you?
Nope.
And you've just done it again. You're a sly one, aren't you? One more time. Who are you, and what were you doing in that shrine?
I'm just gonna say I'm from the future.
No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, you know, not right in the head? That's all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here.
Seriously, what's today's date?
We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say early March?
What year?
It's 817 AUC. Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the empire?
That put it
is
at
Rome
about
exactly?
400. Not BC, AC, AD, I think. Roughly. 65 CE. Common Era, that's the one. I didn't realise the founding of Rome actually went back that long. Let's use that insight.
CE? No idea what you're talking about. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine.
Your laws?
Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's, well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming?
Yes, lead the way.
Follow me. When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community now.
Yeah, so, like,
Only 23 of us at the moment.
things go wrong if you break the golden law, which I can't actually remember the exact layout of what it is. But obviously then that opens up the game for sort of exploration and what morals are.
New friend, Galerius.
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
And also we're setting up politics.
I'd stay clear of it and her if I were you. She's... it's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage and wheat. Huh. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market
So,
or get yourself patched up in
I'm
the
just doing
Crucius
some audio
Clinic
tests
in the
whilst
Shrine
we're
of
having this
Apollo.
conversation.
Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this
Oh,
central plateau
I'm doing some
is where
horrible
the
camera
magistrate
work.
and the other
I have one
patricians
job
live.
here, and it's to be the
So,
camera.
Don't expect a warm welcome.
Hilarious. You're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me,
Is this
please.
some sort of signal to say when I'm here? What's this about?
I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the Golden Rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the
So
election
this
next
first
day.
conversation with the magistrate is very much, I think, the thing that cemented this game as being
Let me see if I can explain it this way.
it really kicking off and hitting in the moment and the way you wanted it
There's a
to.
mutiny brewing in one cohort. The legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10. Made us draw straws. And whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything
another
wrong.
one fresh out of the baths, I take it.
One of us in 10
And decimation.
die for the crimes of the collective. We call it decimation. If that seems like rough justice to you, you're in for a rude shock. Because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. Who's up these stairs?
So let's see what this guy's deal is.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name? A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great learning. We're always happy to welcome another scholar to our little community. Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago.
I just want to get out of here.
In good time. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months.
I didn't click that it was only been 7 months
22
last time.
Complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin?
No, but 22 people I wouldn't call a city.
Nor could I until I came here. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined.
Ah, it's a
turning us
joke.
all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule.
Why else would Proserpina send you now?
Proserpina.
Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away.
So, this is where the game got me, essentially, because you have on here what counts as a sin, and you sort of have this conceptualization of a enforced morality that comes from elsewhere, and the very fact that like the justice is so swift and harsh on everyone is immediately interesting, because you can see certain groups of people advocating for that sort of swift justice. So what does it mean to live in that society? What does it mean for what a sin is? You know, what does this society class as a sin? Is that a universal classification? Blah de blah de blah. It does some interesting questions, and this conversation sort of just elucidates that, so we'll get into it. We'll ask what counts as a sin here.
An intelligent question. There was
But it only
great deal
goes
of debate
more.
about that in our first weeks here. Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying? Insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide. As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire.
Yeah, because it immediately projects back that the Empire is,
and we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord
as being the arbiter of what's good and decent.
That we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries.
I'm not sure if that's a good idea. What is legal isn't always moral, and many of your laws and customs are considered barbaric where I'm from. I mean, it's heavy-handed. It very much knows what space it's playing in. There's no two ways about it. It knows what it is. Hence this question and being able to say it right now. But it's an interesting space to be in. Plus it's loops.
Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years she has borne great statesmen, philosophers, poets, artists, and engineers. We have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric?
So yeah, a common one, slave ownership.
Of course. What else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well.
Yeah, it really shows what a normative force being where you're from is. You know. What about blood sports?
On occasion. But our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway. I do not see the harm.
Don't women have fewer rights than men?
Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer responsibilities. And the right.
It is all a little clean, isn't it? Like, his responses are well thought out, and there's no umming and ahhing, hemming or hawing. There's no like, ooh, what about this, what about that? He very much has his answer straight away. But it shows perspective.
You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being...
Even the Christians burning Rome, I think that's something that is not true by most historical estimations. And this is going from the peripheries of my memory, so it very much, I could be misremembering very easily. But if it's not, it does show, look, you know, propaganda be spreading. Don't you practice collective punishment, as Horatius, was it, told us on the way up?
Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a disciplined...
But every
formidable
single
legion.
thing that we might see as barbaric makes sense within that society. It doesn't mean it's right. Yeah, where I'm from, we consider those things abhorrent.
Well, right now, you're a long, long way from home.
And that almost sounds like a
I have
threat.
made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows.
I'd very much be interested in seeing those people and talking to them. What did you mean when you said Proserpina sent me?
You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you?
Is it that obvious? You're right, I'm from 2,000 years in the future.
2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please,
I love the way it cuts any sort of fluff on that subject. It's just like straight from the start you can be like, I'm a time traveller.
become of us, of this city.
You've all been turned into golden statues.
I have imagined it, our downfall 1,000 times, but it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it.
So how does the ritual work? Obviously this is going to be like the core thing that we need to not to run away.
All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual.
Wouldn't that be
I
a sin?
don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future?
I did see human remains in the temple.
I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you?
Doing my best.
Well, I suppose that's all I can ask for.
Why can't you investigate?
Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfect.
Yeah, there's a couple of premisey things that are kind of
me,
like
well, it pains me to say my attempts to
really
impose order have
not
been
struggling, but like
fruitless.
grinding to
I
get
fear
through.
I may not even remain magistrate.
But
after
games are
today's
always
election.
that.
The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot.
Fair enough. See, this is one of those sorts of games as well where I don't want to say, do you have any suspects? I think I remember the answer. The answer is something like, oh, I don't want to cloud your judgment on the issue. But even then, like, I don't feel like it would be the right thing to ask him. But games often have this thing where you just want to ask everyone everything. You know, there's little consequences to just going in depth fully on these things. And in fact, there's benefits to doing it. We learn answers to the state of the world or what's going on, so it's important that we do it. But at the same time, I'd be thinking about leaving this. But if you click it, you get an idea of what the game's going to do with it.
Do you ever stare at a problem for
Oh, it's gone
so
from a
long
different
that
direction.
You can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of
And the less I
eyes.
prejudice,
The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better.
How do I know you're not responsible?
Me? Why would you suspect me? I've just told you. I'm about to sacrifice my
Yeah, the
own
game
life
lets you
to
ask silly
ensure
questions,
these
and it
people
needs to
have
let
a
you.
second chance. What reason could you possibly have to suspect me, of all people?
Fair point.
I'm glad you think so. Without trust, without each other, we won't be able to prevent what is about to happen.
Fair enough. If I do this, will you help me get back to my own time?
If I understand Prosepina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense?
Yes, I think so. Sure, why not? That's all the questions I have for now.
Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule?
Alright, I'm in.
Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately.
Bet we can accuse the wrong person. Alright, I'll get started.
And one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the Shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
I'll get right on it. Yeah, so this is about where I got to. I got like one conversation ahead of this, but yeah, let's go into the world. This is the other thing I really like about the game, is this, like, the marble tiling and the aesthetics and decor. I don't know how real it all is, but it feels very good to look at. That was the first thing I did last time as well, was steal something. Which, I think as far as the Golden Rule goes, it's at least a slap on the wrist. So, hello, stranger. Speak.
Ugh, this place has become a thoroughfare. Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want?
What's your story?
I'm Sentia, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that?
I'm not from around here. Charming. Just don't need to be so snooty. Do you know a way out of here?
What is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone.
So, there's something going on in the magistrate's own house. Can I help?
I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies?
When did you last see her?
It was 3 weeks ago. We ate our evening meal together, and I remember she seemed happy. In love. We went into our rooms, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. That's it.
It sounds horrible. She was seeing someone?
I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me.
Why is that? That's a very raised eyebrow you have there, Sentia. Oh, swap it. Work it. Can we go back to the first? No, why is that?
Our father had plans to marry her off, eventually, and even a rumor about her attachment to some mystery man might have ruined those plans.
Your father didn't mention any of this when I spoke to him. Any idea why? And this is the big question for me.
That doesn't surprise me. To him, it was like a prize cow wandering off from its paddock. He's upset, of course, but he says he's too busy with the election to help look for her. So he's letting Horatius do the heavy lifting. Some good that's done.
Is it possible her lover was involved?
I don't know, but it's been 3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience.
God, you
All
could
I know is,
lift weights with that
whoever he
eyebrow.
is, he's still here in the city.
See, this question as well, Sentia, Sentia, Centilla, why your name's all so similar. I remember this because I think, like, Centilla is a derivative. It's a shortened name for someone younger. But, like, as an archaeologist, I think I'd know this.
You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding us, like cattle to be sold at market. His family name is Sentius, so I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest, and my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Centilla.
Centilla. Yeah, so things are going on with her. You look surprisingly relaxed about your sister's disappearance.
I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance.
Yeah, I don't know what the consequences here are. I don't know if I just jump in and say, I think you know something you're not telling me, if that's a good thing or not. I just hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased. Are you?
Oh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me
Okay,
again.
well, I've just made it worse anyway. But maybe we can come back around later and fully ask that question. I do kind of want to have a nosy around here, though. I do like games that ask you to do detective work. It's no doubt unpleasant cooking with such poor ventilation, but Romans probably regarded that as their servant's problem. It's kind of... I know I'm picking to play... oil. I'm picking to play not exactly the hottest game at the moment, but, you know, I'm not one to really always go for the newest thing out in town. I'll get to that comment in a second. Sentia's journal. Sentia believes everyone is entitled to their secrets. Today my father suggested I write a diary as a way of keeping myself occupied while we deal with the sudden and devastating disappearance of my sister. As a dutiful daughter, of course I shall oblige. The following pages contain my innermost secrets. I know you're reading this, Father. I may be young, but do not think me stupid. We're all entitled to our secrets. A brass jar contains some sort of powder for makeup. Lead, I think, wasn't it? That was always the thing I heard. Ink jar, yeah. Soot and water. Brass mirror. The brass has been polished into a rudimentary mirror. They've got some human things we continue to do throughout time. So yeah, obviously I could be playing Elden Ring. I am actually playing Elden Ring at the moment. I should be really going for that as like the new hottest thing, but I just can't help myself sometimes playing the old stuff or older stuff. I think the whole industry of games seems to be focused around this sort of, especially like playing them for YouTube and stuff, to be covered around like playing the newest thing and the hottest thing, and I'm just very bad at doing that. I don't like the pressure sometimes.
You've returned. Do you have any news about your investigation?
No, but I want to ask about your daughter. Can we talk about who's going to break the golden rule?
What is it? Why then did you say... it doesn't matter.
Just seeing if there was a way to... what's it called?
Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask?
I was hoping to ask you some questions about my investigation. That's all I had.
Now,
Obviously, it's one of those
there's
games where you're
something
clearing
else
all
you
this stuff
wanted
out,
to
so
discuss.
we're going to do that. What's your story?
Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians.
What's a decurion?
It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform.
I wonder if it's usual for them to continue. Oh, yeah, why are you still wearing it?
As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you. So, it seems...
He seems to know more than he's letting on. Like, why would you know that ahead of time? There's something else going on with this guy. How did you end up
My men
here?
and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now, the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger.
So
I went looking for my horse.
that's
and
the other thing, is that
discovered
whole repeat waking up in the company of some
you could
stranger.
probably figure out the rest.
How did you come to be
I was
magistrate?
elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well.
Do you know a way out of
If
here?
I did, I'd have led these people out of here already.
Yeah, that seems fairly obvious. What do you think about the Golden Rule?
I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the Golden Rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris.
See, I do think that
I
is
trust
great,
That answers your question.
because the god's been so centered in his like
I'll be waiting
way
here
of
for you.
thought. Is again a very cultural sort of thing, and it also allows a certain type of like thought process. Let's see what the graffiti says. Sentius and Malleus, same excrement, different smell. Hello, stranger.
What were you two talking about?
Sorry, what?
Don't play dumb. I saw you. Having a shady little chat with old man Sentius up on his balcony. What's he offering you? Money? Favours? What's your vote worth to him?
He wasn't trying to buy my vote.
You're throwing your lot in with him for free then? That's even worse. Mark my words, Malleolus is gonna be magistrate.
I don't
by
think
the
this
end of
guy's the
day.
smartest guy,
And if I
because,
tell him you
like,
sided with that feeble
do I
old
even have a
has-been,
vote
that you've been trying to undermine his hard-won
if
victory?
I'm, like, completely new
You're
here?
the wrong patron. Got it?
So I don't understand why he's being so aggressive to someone that, like, you're from a small community, you know everyone who's here, there's no need to, like, go in hard like that. I don't want any trouble.
Good. And stay out of it.
I will do. Fine, mind if I ask some questions?
Can't hurt.
What's your story?
The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus, you go through me.
It's always a good sign when the political opponent has muscle like this. I'd like to meet him.
Too bad. He's busy. Unless... No. You don't look like you could afford it.
Oh. Forward
I'm
what?
glad you asked. See, he's a busy man, and this is an important day. He'll be inside practicing his victory speech for tonight. Left me strict instructions he doesn't want to be disturbed. So if you want to see him, I'll need something valuable in return.
Yes, definitely an upstanding citizen. Isn't soliciting a bribe a sin?
Bribe? That's such an ugly word. What I'm looking for is more of a tribute to me, your soon-to-be patron.
Alright, what do you want?
Dunno. Something good.
He hasn't even thought that far ahead. I'll see what I can do.
Just make it good.
What do you think about the golden
I
rule?
think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected.
Is it something you can put an end to? Sounds great, can I help?
We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Just stay out of our way, and we won't have a problem.
Okay. Phone on silent. Want to make that a rookie error. Oh god. Do you know a way out of
When
it?
Malleolus wins the election, yeah, this place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see.
Audio? Yeah, we're good. Who are you going to vote for? As if that's a shock.
Malleolus, of course. If old man Sentius can't even protect his own daughter...
Well,
how
guess
can we
who that
trust him to
immediately points the
protect
blame
us?
to on that situation. I'll be going
Whatever.
now.
Just remember, I'll be watching.
Alright, Domitius. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. So... Lucretia... Ah, so he's even put it into a quest log for me. I never got quite a chance to figure out how the quest log worked last time, so I'm just gonna try and figure it out on the fly. Let's go see Lucretia, because I think I did that conversation last time, so, and then after that we're on to completely new territory. Plus I do think it's interesting, to have sort of someone part of the Temple of Apollo, because the nature of the subject's slightly interesting. I don't know why I'm here, don't ask me that. I'm also going to drop a save because we've put a good amount of time in now. Octavia's chest. Done the stove inspection, so we don't need to be reading more about various cooking implements. Gracious. I don't even really actually know where we are in here.
Isn't the great temple majestic? A new face, Ave, and may Vesta watch over you.
Ave?
I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
What's your story?
Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?"
Sorry, what should I have done?
The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change.
Sorry, I'm messing around with stream stuff again. Had some people dipping in and out, or was that just me who's dipped in and out? Yeah, that's just me, technically. So, how did you end up here?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here?
A stranger dragged me out of the river unconscious and then sent me here.
I wonder if... No.
What were you going to say?
I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice anything.
The plot thickens. You're being a bit coy.
I know. I just don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too.
What happened to Livia?
Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and cutting hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering.
Is
to
she the
herself.
one who wasn't well on the way in?
Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested,
You see, the golden rule isn't always a good
was
thing.
too much for her.
Oh, that was the other thing with the golden rule as well. That's Kant's thing, isn't it?
Nobody else saw, and that
Treat others how you want to be treated.
don't want to see that happen
In
to
more
you.
words than that, but you know,
Be careful, will
philosophers
you?
aren't known for being short-worded.
Thank you. Now, go and follow the thread of truth through this labyrinth, and come back to me if you discover any patterns.
I'll get right on it.
Come back to me once you've acquainted yourself with the rest of our neighbours.
You had other things I could ask you, I
Okay,
think.
again. Did you find what you need?
But yeah, it's kind of my favourite thing in the world. Is just like, give me a cast of semi-interesting characters and then let me go and ask them like things about a big concept. I want to hear all sides, please. Or at least get to the bottom of what the game thinks about it. What do you think about the golden
I'm
rule?
quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But
It's a very
here, it
god-centric
seems they require
worldview,
much more of us.
which is fair.
I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long.
Yes, please. Why not? I have time.
Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon lived. Now the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and
I
Mercury,
really don't
trickster
have a
god.
decent
They
knowledge
confide
of
they didn't mind the meager
Roman and Greek
offerings. They
gods.
were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you."
Yeah, we get it. Be nice to strangers.
So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is...
Yeah, my main touchstone for Greek mythology is Hades,
Jupiter carries through
the
with
video
his
game.
threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves.
I suppose they kind of go hand in hand. I kind of want to push her on this one, because I'm not sure if... I don't think people's memory of me is going to continue based on everything else this game has done, so I'm kind of interested to see what she says. So yeah.
A cynic philosopher might take
Yes,
that
I was going to say it's very cynical.
but it's not entirely invalid, I suppose.
Do you know a way
I
out of
don't,
here?
I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another.
What's the status of the election?
It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask?
Who's allowed to vote?
All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course.
Can I vote?
Well, you're not a citizen yet, so no, I'm afraid not. But if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election.
Such as?
By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course.
What's your role in the election?
I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed.
Can I nominate another candidate?
You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept.
I wonder how much we
nomination.
can mess with this stuff and like how essential that is to resolving the plot. Can we start the election now?
As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason.
Never
As
mind.
you wish.
I imagine that's like one of those components that we can sort of play with and mess with. Let's talk about something else. I've been asking people how they wound up here,
And did you notice anything? A pattern?
so we have to come back.
Oh, well then. Keep asking people how they wound up here. I don't want us to rush to any conclusions yet. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind, and dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first. Come back to me once you've acquainted yourself with the rest of our neighbours.
Cool. I wonder if everyone's going to have like a little quest for us to do. Very creepy. I do want to have a nose what's going on in the rest of these spaces. I wonder if there's a way of telling the time of day and if that's important. I know these sorts of games, sometimes these cycles are timed. So that is Senatilla's house. Sentilla? Oh no, that's Malleus. What's his name again? Is it
Harvey.
Sentius, there we go. Yeah, so this is about where I got to. So I think our first sort of job here is going to be going and talking to everyone. I sort of want to go back to speak to the person who first let me in the place, because I imagine if he's like constantly in this area, he's going to be important. Or a map. Don't steal anything. Don't hurt anyone. Don't. Whoever wrote this didn't get a chance to finish, evidently. See, there's also, like, there is these gold statues around as well. That was one of the questions I sort of had when I, yeah, this is where I came in. When I started, because I wondered if, the gold statues, I believe everyone turns to gold or can turn to gold at the end of the world sort of thing, but there's also the sense that some of these gold statues are here watching over you. I'll sort of prove it out as the game goes on. I just want to have a nose around here because I wanted to see if the guy who initially welcomed us in was around, because I sort of want to go back into that conversation knowing what I know now. Plus it's a decent space to sort of explore from. Now I know that taking some stuff will lead to the golden rule being sort of enacted, but that didn't seem to be suggesting that I was stealing. It's not far away from a temple though, so I wonder if it was left as an offering. That feels a wee bit rude. These statues are doing everything in their power to remain creepy. I also bet that there is good chance that this is the temple of Apollo. Is it Apollo? Shrine of Apollo. With its central position. Nice tiles. More graffiti. Oh.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the Golden Rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far?
Feeling a bit on edge. There's a bit of pressure going on around here.
That's good, in a sense. If you're not on edge, you've not been paying attention. But on the bright side, once you've been here a few months, well, it's slightly less terrifying anyway. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived. I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out?
I suppose people don't often think about the world and life in this particular way, but like having this hanging over you kind of forces you.
But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned.
What's your story?
Here, in this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a lovely villa on the banks of the Tiber. I was even betrothed to a handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labour for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose.
Sense of humour, at least. How did you end up here? I do want to know this, because I think we're definitely getting sent here.
Oh, much the same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome, 7 months ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I was pushed overboard. The last thing I remember was the water, rising up to hit my cheekbone. I woke up by the river, near that shrine, and stumbled across this place.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure it's all part of God's plan for me.
God? Don't you mean gods?
Oh yes, of course. A slip of the tongue.
Let's talk about something else. I have a feeling she may be fearing no way out of here.
I'm afraid not. Although, I did once hear someone gossiping down at Aurelia's tavern about a possible way out. I don't put a lot of stock in such rumours, but if you're desperate and wealthy, you could look into it, I suppose. If that doesn't work, then I suppose we're all stuck here until the gods decide our fate.
Thanks, I'll look into
I
it.
hope it works out.
What do you think about the golden rule?
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbours as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them do to us, then we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency towards sin.
The intent of man's heart is evil from youth.
Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin?
No, big question. I think some are and some aren't. Seems that way.
If that's true, then sooner or later, things are going to end badly for all of us down here. Unless, of course, there's some kind of divine intervention.
Definitely the way she talks about things, their modern contexts, you know, divine intervention and God. Oh, there's going to be some divine intervention, alright.
I wish I shared your faith.
So you're a Christian?
Please keep that to yourself.
Oh, it doesn't
I know
necessarily
you're not from
mean
around
that it's a
here.
modern thing though, does it?
Things are very difficult for us right now. There was a terrible fire in Rome last year, and our emperor decided to make us his scapegoats.
Oh dear, I knew there were scapegoats.
There were executions. It was horrible.
The secret's safe with me.
Oh, thank you. You have no idea how much I appreciate that.
You see, I think if someone was in the historical moment and was talking about God or gods, she wouldn't make that slip as easily. But for me, if she was from our era, then maybe.
All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this.
I wonder how much I've
Please,
just
you need to
stumbled
talk
into
to him.
this. Feels like very potentially could have been. Do you really think suicide would break the golden
I
rule?
don't know, but it's a crime for slaves to take their own lives. And a debt bondsman isn't far off.
We can just run away if we want. I'm half tempted to, but I'm not going to.
Thank you. And please.
The problem with games like
choose
this
your
is you can
words carefully.
sometimes lose the ramification of what's going on. Just to like be in a sense of play with the systems that exist around it. So I kind of want to push the boundaries because I know that the consequences aren't forever. Ulpius, can we talk?
Guess. You're going to lecture me on how suicide is a crime against the Empire.
I was just going to ask you what's wrong.
I screwed up my life. That's what's wrong. I borrowed money, and when I couldn't pay it back, I wound up in debt bondage. I'll be stuck slaving away for that Culus Cumulatis Malleolus for the rest of my life. I'm out. Wherever you are, Scintillum, my love. I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord. That poor lamb.
Oh God. Was that my fault?
That was not your fault. There's no way you could have given him what he wanted, moments after you arrived.
Suicide didn't break the golden rule. What does that mean?
Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the golden rule. So I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it. It isn't mine.
What happens now?
I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for
Oh
poor
god.
Argus.
It really is immediately pushing the bounds of this, isn't it? I urinated into Malleolus's villa from above and I've got away from it. Oh. That's Malleolus's villa. How can we pass this test if we don't know the rules? I mean, they are vague, aren't they? I don't necessarily have a sense of exactly what's wrong and right in this instance. Sorry, I'm just looking around here. You get certain instincts sort of internalized to some degree, where you're just like, I'm gonna look behind things. Done me particularly well in Elden Ring so far. Of a Sisyphean task. Definitely seems to be something going on with the underground system. There's parts of this place that definitely haven't picked up on fully. The golden statue people need my help. I do want to get talking to Malleolus because he seems like a pretty horrific figure, but I don't have full faith in Sentius whatsoever. Especially the daughter thing kind of put me off him a little bit. Gold statues are creepy as well. Especially when you're sort of like looking down and you look up and it's like, ooh, statue. Hello. Why has this part of the world been sort of sectioned off? Note from Navia. I'm locking myself in, don't try and follow me, nothing good will come of it. Navia. So it feels like there's definitely sort of like layers of these societies that have existed on top of each other, hence the golden statues being here again. My thought process being there, if someone's locked themselves in here and you can hear noises within, as well as this man proselytizing himself in front of it, you sort of get the sense that this could have been something that happened previously. Bet we can also get in there as well and discover what is going on. Fountain producing fresh water, but where could the water be coming from? Again, video games, always looking behind waterfalls. We're really getting into the part of the town that I've never been before, so... Ah, toilets. Communal public toilets. These holes must be designed for use with a sponge on a stick. Sponge on a stick. Small stick with a sponge attached. This must be what Romans used instead of toilet paper. It appears to be for communal use. Best put it back immediately. I concur. Oh, this man died pooping. Always remember they're watching. Whoever defecated here needs to see a doctor. There is a lot of I can't quite quote any of them, but if you ever get a chance, go and read Roman graffiti found at Pompeii, I think it is. It is most excellent because it really just has the same sense of sort of graffiti that we would have. You can tell that humans are still be humans.
You have to do something. A man arrived in the baths, a real nasty sort, with his face all covered up, and he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's going to break the golden rule.
Oh, I don't have a
None
weapon.
of us do. The magistrate made us throw them all into the chasm. So now this man's bow is the only one in the city. You'll just have to improvise.
Get right on it.
Thank you. He's still in there.
So we don't necessarily have to do these quests in this order, but this feels
Find
urgent to
this
me.
empty shrine when it's over.
Ah, it's just shown her running in.
The shrine is collapsing.
Oh god. That wasn't me. Shrine may collapse at any moment.
Fabia, no! Oh god, she's dead. Did anyone see that? The whole shrine just collapsed on her.
I'm not going to steal her loaf of bread.
Why did you have to go in there? Poor sweet girl.
I want to see the thing that made her run. This is the many shall suffer the sins for the one. Oh, I can read it. Isn't this the area we walked through when we first came into here?
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is?
I don't know Quintius.
I'm not sure I believe that, so allow me to explain something to you. I am here with orders from Emperor Nero himself to find and execute the cultist Quinctius for terrible crimes against the Empire. So, if you tell me the truth, I will allow you to live. But if you lie to me or otherwise obstruct the Emperor's business in any way, I will put this arrow through your chest. Is that understood?
Got it.
Thank you. Now tell me, who are you people, and what is this place?
We're just a small community of strangers who wound up here by accident.
A small community. Ha! I was told Quinctius was a cultist, but I never thought he'd be foolish enough to lead me right to the heart of his mystery cult.
Who is this Quintius? Wait, what's a mystery cult?
Oh, don't play coy with me. I don't care if you're worshipping Bacchus, Magna Mater, or Christ. You lot are all the same to me. Always sneaking off to your secret sanctuaries, indoctrinating each other with your little mantras. The Emperor may have tolerated your activities up until now, but after what Quinctius did, those days are numbered.
We're not cultists.
You say that, but if you're not a cult, then why go to such great lengths to keep this place a secret?
I really do feel like a little bit of a fish out of water. We're not keeping it secret, we're all trapped
So
here.
admit you're not allowed to leave.
We can leave if we want to. It's not that, we're not allowed. We physically can't leave.
Threatening me is not going to help you. But
God
in
damn
any
it.
case, that sounds an awful lot like a cult.
Come on.
And I saw the inscription saying, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." I take it this is some kind of mantra you all believe?
I mean, I understand how you've made this mistake. No.
Another lie. So you really do believe that? Fascinating.
Oh.
You've clearly been indoctrinated into this nonsense. Now tell me, where did you lot get enough gold to make all these statues?
There were once people who were turned into gold as punishment. I'm sure he won't mistake what I'm on about here.
You lot are practicing human sacrifice too. You people disgust me.
We didn't turn them into gold, a god did, and we don't know which one. You're distorting what I said.
Yes, yes, because I'm the real villain here.
Oh, shut up
It's
your
all clear to
sarcasm.
me now. The secret sanctuary, the indoctrination, the mantra, the human.
Oh, there's like several things going wrong. How have two people died in the last like 10 minutes?
What baffles me is how a person can believe in something with such zeal. They just can't see what they've become. However, you still have a chance to redeem yourself by telling me where Quintius is. Do not waste it.
What can you tell me about Quintius? Let's turn this
Very
around.
well. Here's what I know. He's a 40 to 50-year-old man with distinctive
Reverse card.
eyes, one green and one blue. He's also known to have delusions of grandeur. The Emperor says he and his cult, your cult, are responsible for starting the fire which burned half of Rome to the ground and killed
Oh, Nero's
thousands
one
in
of the
process.
crazy ones, isn't he? Perhaps the Emperor was looking for a scapegoat.
Who are you to challenge what the Emperor says? Were you there? Do you have spies and scouts all over Rome like he does? No, you do not. This is your last chance. Are you going to tell me where he is or not?
I have no idea who he is or where.
Then you're of no use to me.
I know, you're going
Do
to
you
try and
have
kill
any
me.
last words?
Jesus Christ, you're an idiot.
I knew it. Now it's my turn to tell you something. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every last one of you.
I wonder if I can actually escape this.
And I can think of nothing I'd enjoy more.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Okay, let's go. Where do I need to go? Breaking the golden rule isn't the end. Instead of reloading and save, we recommend following the magistrate instead. Yes, but I don't know where she is. Run. Follow the Sentius back to the shrine and use his portal again. Okay, so we have to go back to where we started.
A man lives badly who does not know how to die well.
He doesn't look terrified to me. Oh. Okay. Shrine being up here. So, all in all, successful first day. We introduce ourselves to the important leaders around here. We saw a suicide, an accidental death, and an assassin. So what can we do with this information? Nothing at this moment, I don't think. So I wonder how many of the things that we sort of saw, I'm pausing it because it might be on time mode. How many sort of the things we sort of saw there are triggered by the player, and how many things are just things that happen? I think the player is actually the main trigger a lot more than I anticipated in this game. Like if you play the Outer Wilds, I'm now trying to remember if that's the right one. It is. Yes. No? Maybe. You know the one I'm on about, the loop game, the good one. The world just happens like holistically and naturally around you, whereas in this it feels like you're the prime mover a little more.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling...
Hi, my name's Maribel, and we've had this conversation before.
I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life.
Your name's Galerius, and you're about to offer to take me to see Sentia so you can tell me about the Golden Rule.
Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you.
No problem, I have to go.
Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it.
Rudimentary wooden zipline handlebar. How does it attach? Not going to question it too much.
Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably.
Thank you. I'll be going now.
Alright, see you around.
I do actually want to talk to Galerius a bit more. I want to get his whole shtick.
Hope you're settling in, friend.
Apart from being friendly face on your intro to this place. What's your story?
Well, it's a long one and kind of sad, but I don't mind telling it.
I have time.
I'm a farmer. Always have been. I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum, with my parents and 2 little sisters. Lovely part of the world. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along, demanding produce for their men. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. Sprinted so fast I almost threw up, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground, and our cart was empty. That was my first encounter with the legions. My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead, but I was young. It was a struggle. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These Legion thugs just took whatever they wanted.
It's interesting to have that contrast against Sentius's idea of the Legion as being a civilizing force, and having Galerius as being on the opposite end of that.
Pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his face right down the middle.
Good for you, Galerius.
There were more of them. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke. My home was reduced to ash. My sisters, dead. And they left me alive to see what they'd done. Still.
Yeah, Rome not good in this sense. I am sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the only one this happened to. It wasn't long before Boudica led thousands of Britons in a rebellion.
How does he fit into the society? Did other people aware of his background?
Too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So.
Oh, so we're actually getting the perspective of someone who was enslaved under the Roman system.
We sold to the highest bidder. I spent a few years working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways. Romanized my name and everything.
Used to be Gary before.
Times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up right back where I was. I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out. You see, about 7 months ago, an enormous
big fire in Rome is a real sticking point.
The river, screaming and shouting. Never seen anything like it. Human beings acting like cattle. I got swept up with them somehow, and the rest is a blur. Next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river. Stumbled across this place and...
Isn't that exactly the same story as the High Priestess lady? I'm glad it all worked out in the end.
That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods aren't done tormenting me yet. See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or so I thought. Until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says. Only he takes the best bits for himself, of course. He even told me if I refuse his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe.
Yeah, for Sentius, the golden rule is just basically, how can I project Rome's power?
Our dear old magistrate is no better than the Legion thugs who took everything from me. I'm right back where I began.
I knew
Don't
Sentius was
worry.
bad.
Nemesis
But he's
is
that sort of
waiting.
bad that doesn't know he's
He'll
bad.
get his. One day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you? I get carried away sometimes.
Nemesis is waiting. Sure.
Thanks, friend. I knew I liked you. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Was there something else you wanted to talk about?
Do you know a way out of it?
As much as I'd love to get out of here, the harvest's always more fruitful in another man's field, isn't it? But Scintilla, Sentius's daughter, went missing a few weeks back. Could be she found a way out.
That's like
If
the
anyone
thing
knows
I'm
for
really
sure,
curious
it'd be
about.
her sister, Sentia, but she'd never tell the likes of me.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
Oh, I don't give it much thought these days. I mean, everybody here's got their own view about what we need to do to survive. But I say, let's spend less time arguing about what it means to be good and just get on with it, you know?
What do you think about the election?
I can't see how I could vote for either candidate. I don't like Sentius much, but Malleolus is almost as bad. Even I could do a better job. Me, a farmer. And I've never given a speech or put on a toga in my life.
These sort of like
All right,
rich
I'll see you
aristocratic types are just battling it out for the lives of these people. But there doesn't seem to be many fans of them. Oh Lord. I want to have a go at these zip lines. I bet you have to come from over there down to here. I'm not going to have a go at that one because I want to go into this tavern. I'm getting a similar experience to playing Elden Ring at the moment. This sort of always having a list of things that I want to do and things that I find interesting. He watches through their eyes. Oh, this is not a tavern. Galerius from Magistrate, counted by I'd rather drink Aurelius' special brew. Galerius. Oh, he lives in here. I want to read his poem. Love poem to an unspecified woman. A woman? My life has been tortuous as the 7 labours of Hercules. Orphan, defeated and enslaved, yet I would suffer it all again gladly, because each loss, wound and tragedy brought me to you. Radiant as Rome's sacred flame, your bright warmth nourishes my soul. I know I can never touch you, any more than hold Vesta's flame, but to watch and love you from afar, bathing in your glow is... He fancies someone here. Our prototype? Olivia.
You, Tantalus, cannot catch the drops of water, and the tree you grasp at eludes you. Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, but it does not notice the crowds that come.
Olivia, I have a feeling things are tough for you right now. What's your story?
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the Forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
I'm sorry, I have no idea what that means.
They never do.
Do you know a way out of here?
There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence.
I definitely
the
actually think there's
infernal
something to that.
regions.
Do you need help?
Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things. A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed.
Is this
I'll
one
say
of these
no
things
more.
where she's saying stuff that seems random and weird to us, but is sensical if you have the context of what she's saying? What do you think about the Golden Rule?
The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment.
I want to know about this pattern.
You think you wish to know, but you do not. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more.
Okay.
The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them.
There's definitely a sense of small wooden model of an arena, possibly Verona Arena, which was completed in the 1st century and is still in use today. There's definitely a sense of Virgil is water all around me but none to drink. You know, all these gold statues in this poorer area of town. I wonder, like, it's really interesting as well that this society has such a strong rich-poor divide. Like, it has these beautiful manor houses. Like, why doesn't everyone have one of those if there's only 22 people? And of course you would use the statues to hold stuff. That's just obvious. Lararium. Small household shrine where ancient Romans offered daily prayers for protection. This one depicts Apollo. Herb rack, a wooden rack containing various dried and ground substances. And I think it's definitely interesting that you have Sentius at the core of all that, sort of projecting power of the Romans onto everyone. Dice tower. Bene Vidi Vici. Metal dice tower designed to stop people from cheating when rolling dice. Clearly, cheating is a problem amongst Romans. Sophius had an orgy with 4 girls here and disappointed all of them equally. That's the sort of thing that I was on about when I was saying Pompeian graffiti. A lot of stuff like that. May the gods be kinder to you than they were to a stranger. I love a good cave to go trawling through. That's the other thing. Possibly the last bottle of wine in this city. But that'll be useful for bribery or some such endeavour. I want to go back up here because there's still a couple of people I want to talk to. Are we taking it that Proserpina is the person behind all this? Again, I still want to go back to where we were going, but why have the item description possibly the last bottle of wine in the city if you're going to have within spitting distance another bottle of wine in the city? And what's... These areas have been mined by the looks of it and left in disrepair. Rudderless Shadow Wander. Come on. I'm not sure if you can see that. Without flesh or bone. Is this the original sin? There we go. I knew crouching would be an option on one of these buttons. These might be climbable if only they could support my weight. Interesting. I wonder if it's just a timer then on the world, you know, once it hits like 22 minutes or whatever, X amount of time, everything just goes wrong. I didn't see these up here. still want to go back down there and speak to the barmaiden. Barmaiden. Horrible word. This place is a lot more expansive than I thought it was going to be, though. Whoa! Is this their way of trying to move someone, or is this how he got statuified? Yeah, we're definitely getting the sense of, like, priestess. A layered world. People have definitely been brought here before, and everything's gone wrong before. We're not in a unique situation. Although fairly unheard of.
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your
Is the
own,
pattern
aren't
she
you?
on about the pattern that I've just spotted? This isn't the first time it's happened. Hey,
you're here.
Aurelia.
I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but the moment I laid eyes on you, I was intrigued. There's a light in your eyes I've never seen before, a certain learning and sophistication.
Oh, stop it. No, please, go on.
What was that? Some kind of joke? If it was, it wasn't funny.
I know.
I take back what I said. Suddenly, I don't find you so intriguing anymore.
It's
Let's
alright.
just forget
That tends to
for now,
happen to
So
people.
we can at least do business. So, what brings you to my tavern?
What's your story?
Ugh, let it go. Nothing's going to happen between us.
You know a way out of here.
You know, normally, I'd expect you to buy me a drink before asking if
So
you
everything's
want
just
to
going to
get
be a
out of here.
flirt. I was talking about escaping from the
I
city.
guess that went right over your head. Never mind. As a matter of fact, I do know a way out.
Oh, do you?
I'm happy to tell you all about it, but this is valuable information we're talking about, and I don't just give it out like some cheap oracle. So, how badly do you want it? Is it worth, say, 1,000 denarii to you?
If you have your way out, why haven't you used it yourself?
Simple. It's a one-way trip, and I'm not ready to go just yet. I like my life here. One day, maybe, but not now.
Isn't it kind of unethical to keep all these people trapped here? I mean, there's a way out. Does that not count as a sin?
I think of it this way. I have something of value, and I'm willing to share it for a price. That's not unethical. That's just good business. Now, do you want it or not?
Yeah, I don't have that much money. How do I know this isn't a
If I
scam?
took your money without giving you what I promised, I'd be breaking the golden rule, wouldn't I? And I have no interest in doing that.
Tell me more about what I'd be buying.
I can't tell you too much, or you'd figure it out for yourself. But I promise you, you'll never have to spend another hour in this city ever again.
I'll pass.
What's the matter? Can't afford it? Well, perhaps you could take out a loan. I understand Malleolus has lent money to others on occasion.
Yeah, I've seen how that ends. What do you think about the golden rule?
I just try not to think about it. Drink helps with that. As the saying goes, to drink is human, so we drink.
Don't you own a bar? Heard any interesting gossip?
Certainly. For 10 denarii.
Now that I can do.
Have you met Livia? She used to do my hair, until one day she just snapped. This place has that effect on people. Now she just stands around, caked in filth, muttering nonsense to herself. It's a real shame. Now I have to
Aurelia,
do
you
my
strike
own
me as the
hair.
sort of person that wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for your hair.
I hear that if Malleolus is elected, he's gonna throw a small festival to celebrate, with entertainment and everything. Can't wait to find out what it is. Whatever you like. All right, see ya. away from my money.
Okay. A large vat for brewing beer. There's a layer of small insects drowning on the surface. Stealing's not good, is it? That we know.
Handsome, unless you want me to slip some hemlock into your next drink, get out.
I think I've broken her programming. Type of ancient Roman shield known as a scutum. A legionary banner from the first Italica. Gracious. Fermented fish sauce, which I know sounds gross, but honestly, there's some good stuff. Gracious. Oh, he's the guard dude, isn't he? Have we done this section of town? You know what? That's going to be it for today. Oh, almost done the 2 hours I promised myself. Right, I know no one's really done much watching, but that's fine. But if you do catch up this on the vlog, I will be continuing my playthrough of this and probably streaming again some point this week. So try and catch that. I'm not sure what time of day or when, so, you know, me thinking ahead. But I do want to get through this game and perhaps do some more indie games in the future. Thank you for watching who are on the vlog video, the savey thing. Yeah, I'm sure I'm supposed to say some other things, but I'm pretty tired now. Bye. Bye.